Hey Summit County, welcome back. You're watching Summit Sunrise here on TV8 Summit. I'm Andy and I've got Sally here that's just joined me from the Summit Historical Society. Now, if you're not familiar with what they are involved with, we have such rich history here in Summit County. We go way back to the early mining days, and there are some really fascinating stories about the characters that really came together to produce the community that we live in now. And Sally here is our resident expert on all things Summit County history. So I know you brought in some interesting things here with you today, and we've got a little friend here around the corner. So what do we got going on?
So today is a shout out to our authors. So the Summit Historical Society has published books about the rich history of Summit County for almost 30 years. Wow. And so I brought some of our titles, older ones and newer ones, all available at the farmers market, as well as at the museum at 403 Labonte. So you want to see some of the older ones first?
I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see.
Well, this one was by Mary Ellen Gilliland, one of the earliest scholars, and she loves to tell the stories of Summit County. So if you like not just facts and figures, she talks about who was here, what was going on, using our archives and our information. And she also produced this one, which is about the Lula Myers. And we have the Myers cabin behind us on Labonte. So it's a great way to visualize history, not just hear facts and figures. But the book tells about, she was a schoolmarm.
Okay.
And the cabin sat at the base of Keystone, what is now Keystone, where the gondola is. And so you go Ski Marm Run. You ever skied Ski Marm Run?
That's where the name comes from.
Lula Myers was the school marm.
Okay.
And so Mary Ellen tells her story, 1905, Summit County. Well, to us, that's kind of new history, a little bit, but it's a long time ago.
Absolutely. How fascinating. You know, it's really nice to kind of have those little connections to things that are familiar to us here now, like the ski runs and names of different properties around the county as well.
Yeah, and they're teaching us history in a fun way. We just maybe don't make the connection. So that's part of what we try to do, is to make the connection. So today, and with all of our programs, we try to make that connection. So this is more current. Sandy has done some excellent work with, we're all interested now with the water.
Yeah.
And of course the dam with Dillon, the old Dillon got moved 1961 off of where the dam and the reservoir is now. And so Sandy tells that story by looking back at archives and looking back at images. So I brought a couple from the collection. This is in the Summit Historical Society collection, and this ties to the next book also. But this is how a researcher, a historian, looks at the past and learns. So this is a primary picture in our collection of miners.
Okay.
With
this is where it all began, really.
Yeah, where it began, certainly, for modern day history of Summit County, before the Ute Nation, before those early settles. But this is how a researcher looks and learns. And then they make it easy for us to learn by writing a book, telling the stories, so we can all now look as the water rises in the dam, or take maybe the historic boat tours that we do in cooperation with the town of Dillon. Out of the Dillon Marina, we provide the guides that tell the building of the dam, the tunnel, the Roberts Tunnel, all a great Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from the Dillon Marina.
That sounds like a really cool experience, because I feel like a lot of people, you know, even locals, they don't even realize, you know, where the reservoir came from and how it was initially set up. And some people don't even realize that it's actually a reservoir. So,
and the number one question that we get is, are there buildings underneath the water?
I was going to ask that.
You were, you see?
I've heard that before.
I have heard it. It's one of those myths that are floating around. All the buildings were moved out at the owner's expense, including our 1883 Dillon Schoolhouse.
Okay.
Or they were then destroyed for the purity of the water. So that's what a good historian will teach us, is why. why and how is always the story answered. And so one more author is a new author to the county, and he's talking about how you find gold in Colorado. And he just brings it down to, can I go pan in that stream? Will I find gold? And he's going to speak at the museum next Wednesday night at 6:30. And that's at the Summit Historical Society, 1883 Dillon Schoolhouse. And he just brings it home. So bring the kids, come talk, come learn, hands-on. And these are all available again at the farmer's market or at our museum.
Fantastic. Well, stop on over to the museum or the farmers market for more information.
Yeah.
And Sally and the folks over with the Summit Historical Society are obviously very well educated on all of the history here for Summit County. And it's so interesting to learn about, what became to create this, environment that we have here in our ski community. And it really is interesting. So stop on over there if you're interested, or maybe look into one of their educational tours.
Great.
Well, thanks for stopping in today.
Thank you. See you next week with 5 more minutes of tidbits about Summit County.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great.
Well, stick around, you guys. We have more to come. We still have Jesse hanging out over at the Breckenridge Distillery. We've got Watch and Win coming up. Again, today we are giving away a $25 gift card to the beef jerky outlet. And they actually have so much more aside from beef jerky. If that's not your thing, they've got dried fruits and veggies and other variations of jerky too. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys after the break.